Well, let's kick off with some other requests. A lot of people have some keen interest into the platinum price. I can see that I get a lot of emails asking about platinum, asking about palladium, and then I realize that definitely there must be viewers on this show also looking at platinum and palladium. Now let's have a look here. First of all, I mean, the commodity is definitely under immense pressure. I mean, can you believe it? Only in January, it was as high as 1,100. Now trading at 938. So the trend is down. Look at that ugly, what we can see, a tweezer top. That is negative. And because it's a commodity, let's switch to a weekly chart just to get a little bit of a more longer term view. Oh my soul, can you see it? Ugly, ugly bearish momentum to the downside. There's that ugly big candle here, but it can be an inverse hammer. So for everybody that is keen on platinum, I'm seeing something here that's maybe of interest to you. Let's maybe just change that to the 40-week moving average so that we can see where the 40-week moving average is. And oh yes, this is a classic case of a share, of a commodity that can maybe turn around. I like this candle. There is a beautiful reversal hammer candle, and it maybe knocks out the lows. So for me, quite simple. I will say, where's the high of that candle? There's the candle, and it's still early days. Let's just get it there. There you are. I just want to extend it so that you can see there's the high. And by the way, if you look at the construction of a candle and you want to see how it works, let's use this candle as your example here, and it is a hammer. There was the high of the session, there, the top of that candle, the upper shadow, what everybody is always talking about. That high was sitting at 960. Where was the open of the candle? The open of the candle was right at the middle here, and there's the open. Let's give that to you. That is 919. What was the low of the session? The low was 906. Can you believe it? So what it actually tells you that it had a nice day or a nice week, because this is a weekly chart. It went as high as 960, but it opened up and they closed it almost right at the bottom. So they hammered the platinum price to pieces. So for me, I will say, if I can trust this candle, I will only look at this candle as a beautiful bullish engulfing candle, as a turnaround candle. And where will be my first sign of strength? If this candle can close here, because I need 100% or 60%, almost you can say involved of that candle, and that's exactly what you see. But where? Above 960. We can see maybe a turnaround after this ugly sell-off. And where's my stop loss? My stop loss will be the low of this bullish candle. That's 906. And my targets, I mean, you've got some beautiful targets here. 910. And there you are. There's another one. 971. 992. 1,000. 1,002. And maybe back to 1,010. So what it actually tells you is that platinum is under immense pressure. But there's the clue. There's the 40-week moving average. And the 40-week moving average have showed us before. If it is a resistance, the commodity remains below that. If it turns into a support, the commodity goes into a bullish mode. So that is the place to look at it. But for me, platinum, it's close to maybe a turnaround. But where's the big signal? 960 will be the signal. Well, let's have a look at gold, because they usually run hand in hand. Let's have a look. Gold, US dollar, and we look at the weekly chart. And I can remember a few weeks ago, I actually said to the viewers, be a little bit careful. Gold had a beautiful rally. I mean, from 1,620, it went to 1,940. And at that point, everybody was saying that gold is going to 2,000, 2,200. And I always know that everybody is just so positive, things usually turn around a little bit. Or if everybody is so negative, it turns up and it surprises you to the upside. But what did we see here? We saw a beautiful gravestone doji. Then we saw the uglish bearish candle. Then we had another gravestone doji telling you that it just goes lower. And now we're sitting on a harami. Harami is always a candle that tells you, listen, I'm uncertain. I don't know what to do. The investors don't know what to do. So for me, if I'm a long-term or a long-term investor in it, I will see this 40-week moving average is going to be tested, and that sits at 1775. So for the moment, I'm sitting on my hands of gold, and there's my first sign of strength will be above this little Arami candle, and that will be above $1,820. Above that, things can maybe turn around and make me positive, but below that, unfortunately, we can maybe head to this 40-week moving average before things will get a little bit excited. Well, let's have a look at Spotify. That is a share listed on the NASDAQ. And remember, as I said earlier, everybody wants to get back into the technology shares because it treated them so well. Now, if we look at Spotify, and this was also a share that we discussed a while back, and yes, it did give us a beautiful rally. Now it looks like it's a little bit of a cool-off period, just something on a cool-off period. Now, a cool-off period is usually a period where the share needs to make up their mind. So the investors decide, we're either going to buy, or we're going to sell, or we're going to hold in that period. So if you've got this cool-off period, I mean, you had a beautiful rally right to the top, there you are, and now suddenly you've got like a tiny little consolidation going, and that can be an ideal cool-off period after this beautiful rally, because remember, it came from 71 to about $130, I mean, in 1, 2, 3, almost, let's call it 6 weeks. So in 6 weeks, it had one beautiful rally. But what's positive here is look at this 40-week moving average. The 40-week moving average, in the meantime, turned into a support, and that is bullish for me. But there's something else that's bullish to me, is the following, and I want to show you that. And I've used it on the program so many times with great success, and that is, can you see that there's a little candle here, a dragonfly doji? But that's not the important part of it. The important part of it, it came back to test this 40-week moving average right at the bottom, and from there it found some buyers to push it actually higher. So what does it tell me? That this candle here, this dragonfly, these guys that bought into the dip was quite keen to buy the share. And what happened? It bounced off here. So I'm positive. Let's see what will happen out of this cool-off period, but the momentum will carry on to go higher above this little line there, and that will be above 128.98, but unfortunately below 114.90 we can see some lower levels. Let's have a look at Pick n Pay. Pick n Pay, where's Pick n Pay? There you are, Pick n Pay. Well, let's have a look, and we're going to look at a weekly chart again. Well, can you believe this? 40-week moving average, ugly resistance, and we had a sell-off from 62.82 all the way to 46. But what do I see here? I see a tiny tweezer bottom here many months ago in February last year, and we're almost also heading for this. So is this maybe a double bottom scenario? I do not know. But what I do say to myself, if this little candle can maybe turn around and turn into a bullish candle, because that is not yet the case, and that we will only know on a Friday close, we can maybe see a beautiful turnaround. So for me, I will first draw in a little line here into the sand. And there you are. That line is 46.93. The high of that candle is 46.93. Above 46.93, I will see the first sign of strength. And by the way, somebody phoned me and said, Frans, do you know that a big financial institution bought more shares into the company? And I said to him, well, that's quite right, but what is your view on the share? He said, no, I'm a trader. I said, always remember, an institution buying into a company always, well, 99% has a long-term view on the share. They're not looking for a day or two to make some money. They probably have the share somewhere for another 4, 5, 6 years because they want dividends and all those things. So be a little bit careful just to rush in if you hear things like that, that this or that and the other bought the company. You stick to your stop loss. My stop loss here will be 44.80. And I mean, if the share really picks up, we can see some nice rallies, 48.21 and even 49.45. And I think 50 Rand will be a nice psychological level to look at. Well, thank you for visiting the show. Thank you for watching the show. Visit our website, www.fransdeklerk.com for more info and we will chat again.